This is Father Andrew Ritchie, and you're listening to Catholic Inspiration, a podcast from my website at studyprayserve.com. These homilies, presentations, and retreats form part of my ministry as a Catholic priest for the Diocese of Superior. And now I invite you to open your hearts to some Catholic inspiration. Today is the feast of Saints Simon and Jude, the Apostles. Our Gospel reading is taken from Luke chapter 6, verses 12 to 16. Jesus went up to the mountain to pray, and he spent the night in prayer to God. When day came, he called his disciples to himself, and from them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles. Simon, whom he named Peter, his brother Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, Simon, who was called a zealot, Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. Several key points about this very short passage that bear an important focus. First, Jesus goes up the mountain to pray. Prays all night long. He's in communion with the Father. Jesus is praying, and so all of his action flows out of his communion with God. It's very important that we just remember that everything's going to move first from that time of prayer. That's our first takeaway. Now, second, we have the 12. So we have the 12 chosen. And this is an echo, right, of what happens that Jesus, in choosing 12 apostles, continues really and builds upon that notion that we have in salvation history of the 12 tribes of Israel. That now salvation history is going to take a fullness. God's going to do something extraordinary, something new. There's a new covenant that's going to be forged. And these 12 will be at the core of that early church, proclaiming good news. Of course, we know what's going to happen to Judas Iscariot. But it doesn't take away the fact that at the beginning, Jesus chooses 12. It's symbolic. It recognizes God's saving work. And it echoes not only what God has done in the past, but something new that the Lord is going to accomplish through Jesus. All right, so it begins in prayer, continues to build on salvation history, and finally, he calls them by name. So this is from the larger group of disciples. We know there are a lot of people, right, following Jesus. There's a whole group of them. But out of the group, Jesus selects these 12. There's a whole group who are following, and they're going to continue to follow. But these 12 now have a special place. That term apostle, they will be sent. They're going to be commissioned, empowered, authorized to continue the Lord's work in a very formal way. That's during the earthly mission of Jesus, and then long after his death, resurrection, and ascension into heaven. With Pentecost, their lives will be completely transformed. So this notion that God, through Jesus, begins with prayer, builds on salvation history, and then calls by name 12 to do special work. Friends, we can apply this directly to our lives. That whenever we pause to, hopefully on the daily level, pray to the Lord, to open our hearts, to be present to the Almighty, in that moment we are on solid footing. On that moment we are in communion with the Lord, open and receptive. Here I am, Lord. And by disposing ourselves to the Almighty, we can receive grace that maybe we don't even know we need this day, but we pause for a moment to be receptive, to listen, to be open, to be present to the Lord. And secondly, we're continuing the work. Again, we're building on the efforts of those who've gone before us, standing on the shoulders of giants. We are not alone, but we are part of this grand work of the church. And so we have a part to play. And in doing it, and doing it faithfully, we are part of God's ongoing plan of salvation. And finally, friends, he calls us by name. Do not take that lightly. The Lord Jesus is looking each one of us in the eye, calling us by name and saying, "Follow me. I have work for you and you alone to do. Come follow me. I will give you rest. I'll help you. I won't leave you. I'll be with you. But I have chosen you. appointed you, and I will now send you out into the world. Friends, all of us have an opportunity to embrace the mission that Christ calls us to within the context of our own lives, right here, right now. All of us have the possibility to say, Lord, I am open, I am receptive. In my daily prayer, I only seek to do your will and continue your saving work. And Lord, therefore, as you call me today by name, I will follow you. I will go where you send me to do your will, to be your witness, that others might come to know you as well. When we do that, we continue this great calling of the 12 apostles. It happens in our lives right here, right now, today. May we say yes to the Lord Jesus and take the task at hand to carry it out for his glory and honor. God bless you all. This is Father Andrew, and I hope this podcast inspires your faith. Now, if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend, and you can help me by leaving a rating and a review. I keep all my listeners in my daily prayers, and I ask for your prayers in return. God bless you, my friends.